In a few moments, we'll be going live to Observer Retro streams. Starting off the new year with a special double feature, it's Myst III, Exile, with Part 2 coming February 15th. Don't miss the thrilling finale with Myst IV, Revelation, Part 2 on March 15th. Stay tuned for future uploads. Now, on with the show.
Hello again, fellow viewers. A lot has happened over the past month. First of which is this game, Myst III Exile, has had a rough transition between its original disk-based format to ScummVM here. I actually personally took it upon myself to file reports with the team and actually fix some of the glitches this port has. But to do that, you're not going to find those patches on the current release with GOG or Steam right now, because I had to get what's called a Daily Build, which has the patches integrated. I don't know when they're rolling out those fixes to the public yet, but hopefully at least you'll get to see them here. I had something else planned for the opening, but let's just say my skills at piano aren't quite... I'm rusty at piano at this point. However, Some of you might have heard that I came in possession of a rare Korg M1 keyboard, which I happen to have right here, next to me. Sound familiar? That's what was used in the Journeyman project by Gino Andrews. Anyway, let's go. Before we launch, let's look at our options. We have music volume and frequency, because the way the audio works in this game is divided up into individual sound files, called pad files actually. We have zip mode, brightness adjustment, and for this version, language. And yes, for the first time, we have a Myst game that includes subtitles. Yay! Okay then, let's get this show on the road.
I realized as our group linked back to Dunny that we should not restore the city as we had planned. The once magnificent buildings lay in ruin, testament to the hatred that had consumed them. Too many people had fallen victim to that hate, to the prejudice and greed from which it sprang. Gazing out across the cavern, I decided to write another age, one that would help the Dunny survivors begin again, free from the tragedies of their past. So with my wife, Catherine, supporting me, I put aside that past to write a future. More than a year has gone by since I finished writing Relishan. I have a new daughter, who I hope will someday link to that age with me. And as I imagine Yisha meeting the Dunny, those brave men and women who are building a new life for themselves, I realize I've been given another chance as well. A chance to learn from my mistakes and leave the past behind me once and for all.
Breathtaking, isn't it?
Oh, there's
We
Catherine.
call it Tamana. We moved here after Atrus finished writing Relishan. He wanted us to have a new home too. I'm so glad to see you. I told Atrus our paths would cross again. He was just going to grab something for your trip to Relishan, so he shouldn't be terribly long. Unless he decides to check over the whole house first, which means he could be hours resetting all his padlocks. But I know he was looking forward to introducing you to the Dunny, so he shouldn't be terribly long. Why don't you wait in his study?
Yes, we are no longer on Myst Island, but as a matter of fact, we're somewhere in the New Mexico desert, a few miles from the Cleft, Atrus' original birthplace, which would become an area of Eddy County per the material in Uru. And this time, we're using a panoramic interface this time. It's a bit like Scratch's, except for one difference. The cursor doesn't change to where you're pointing, so keep that in mind.
You know, this trip is exactly what Atrus needs right now. I haven't been able to get him out of the house for months, ever since he found his journals out of place. But seeing how well the Dunny have settled in on Relishan should help him to finally relax.
Yes, that's right. They've had a third child, actually called Yisha, which is the Dunny word for laughter. I hope she grows up better than the two brothers did. Now, which door is it?
I'm sorry, the other door.
That answers that question. Well, I would say the architecture has definitely taken a step up compared to Myst. A lot more varied, I'd say. And over here, I would surmise is either the descriptive book or a linking book to Riven, hence the number 5 right here. Oh yeah, it is dead as a doornail, so I'm glad we can't touch the panel. Oh, one feature this game has is the Judgment games had a Easter egg where if you held E and clicked something, you would provide Easter eggs, and they did the same here. So I'm gonna hold tilde and click this. No reason in particular. Well, while we're waiting, I guess we have the freedom to snoop around. Yep, that's them all right. Catherine and Yisha. And if I hold tilde, we get an actual photo of the actors. It's cute. I wonder if this is one of the crystals from Rime. Taman, thank you for responding so quickly to my request for Nera padlocks. As you know, security in Tamana has become an issue of late. Perhaps I'm overreacting, but the idea that someone may have been sneaking into my study reading all of my journals disturbs me. After what happened in my library on Myst, after my sons destroyed so many of my books, I've come to realize how delicate the link is to my worlds. I've never been able to repair those burned books, to link to each age and find out if the inhabitants survived. The padlocks won't change that situation, but they should ease my fear of trespassers considerably. So Atrus thinks somebody's been sneaking in here and reading all of his stuff. Hope he doesn't think it's us. Looks like some kind of magnifying glass. And of course, who could forget these two? They actually only look vaguely similar to Rand and Robin. Judging from these cabinets, it looks like Atrus has at least taken a little security in mind, because it looks like he put all of his books behind glass this time. Now these two tapestries are very interesting because some of the backstory leading up to this is actually from the third Myst novel, The Book of Dunny. And these images illustrate parts from that novel. Like, for instance, this one actually shows the Dunny Cavern itself, After Riven, Atrus wrote an age called Averone where he got some allies to finally break out of Kavir, and this is where they ended up. Initially, they wanted to restore the society as is inside the cavern, but the whole place was a ruin because two guys, Veovis and Agaris, released a bioweapon that killed all of them, and not only that, but they linked infected corpses to other ages. As this shows here. And here, of course. So rather than living with their past traumas, Atrus wrote this book instead. Oh, he came in. Relishon is meant to be a refuge for all the Dunny survivors to found a new society together as equals. I don't actually know what this Dunny writing says, but it's probably important. And these locks are made of Nera. Nera is like the strongest material Dunny made. It's like 200 times stronger than steel because it's made from rock fused through atomic processes. You can't smash this with a hammer. Although, why do I get the feeling this glass case isn't safe enough?
Well, my friend, I see you found the Relishon book. Catherine tells me you've been here for some time. I'm sorry if I've kept you waiting. Since we'll be gone a few days, I needed to secure some of my things. And I also wanted to bring you this. It's a journal I kept while I was writing Relishon. I thought you might find it interesting to read about what I'd hoped to achieve, compared to what the age truly is. Well, just let me get my keys to unlock Relishon and we'll be off. Oh, and I'm interested in hearing what you've been up to in recent months.
What the?
No! No!
Aw, dang it, we're right next to the fire. We gotta get out of here. There he is! Let's try and catch him! Get back here! Oh, for crying out loud. Thwarted by a locked freaking door. Well, whoever this guy is, he doesn't seem to be going anywhere. Well, one way or another, we gotta get inside this building. Well, nothing better to do than look around and get our bearings, I suppose. A lot of these three-sided scopes everywhere. I bet you anything this is part of some puzzle, but we don't have time for that yet. Oh, and yes, like I said, the music is composed of different sound clips playing in sequence, and that's what the music frequency setting was for. Some would say that these look like tusks, but judging by the windows in them, I'd say they're just decorative buildings of some kind. Block 2. There. Whistling Rock. Huh. Well, this looks familiar. I've seen this kind of crater lake before. Well, this weird building seems to be connected to this building, so... Sorry, I think my PC alt-tabbed for a second. Interesting design, I'll give him that. Out of all the Myst games, I would say this has to be the most beautiful and artistic. Appropriate considering what linking books are. Okay. That's a weird imagery. Another gate and... a button. I would have made that slide straight down, but okay. So now we're in the lower part of this tusk-like building, and what the... That's not creepy at all. A mural of a woman with no eyes. I wonder why that is. Wow, was this here before, or did this guy just make a makeshift laboratory? Oh, and... Okay, so that's balanced. 4 crystal spheres. And 1 metal sphere here. I think we should keep that in mind. Oh, how I wish we could take this hammer and arm ourselves with it, but we can't. Because that would make quick work of the window upstairs. Sorry, I had to lower my volume just a sec. So here we got... A hand crank generator powering some kind of electromagnet. And... wait, what? That is the ugliest, most disturbing pitcher plant I've ever seen. So what would electricity in a plant create? Okay, Fly just went back inside. So in here, 1 crystal ball equals 4 wooden balls. Are you keeping track of all this? I'm betting that'll be in a puzzle later. And from this scale seems to show the principle of one item being balanced by the weight of double the items, placed half the distance from the fulcrum. What is this? Another journal. Servidro, that's this person's name. Yeah, so whoever wrote this must have been the person who broke into Tamana. And he's looking for the brothers, but they were already in prison, so... Is that what happened, Atrus? Safe in your beautiful new home? Did you become so busy in visiting new worlds that you forgot the ones you created? Wait a second. These markings... This says 5 lines. 1, 2, 3, 4... No, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 7. So this journal is actually missing some entries. This is probably important. Not exactly a tidy fellow, is he? And if I hold tilde here, it gives an extra hotspot. MEB, which I assume is a Presto developer or something. This is probably a reference to the fact that this guy had a collection of Pez dispensers. Well, this shaft probably leads right up to where we were trying to get into. Kind of odd that the elevator is facing this way when the outer door is probably facing this way. Huh?
Atrus? Is that you?
No?
Come to rescue your book so soon? Not yet, old friend. Not yet.
Okay then. No idea what's going on, but I'm sure we'll find out. God, I remember when I played this on CD, it took forever for this cutscene to load. Oh, come on. We're still on the other side. We still can't open this? Well, it's actually not as strange as it seems. He said he found a way to reprogram the scanning device, which required scavenging parts of another mechanism in the tusk, but the gears left behind can be operated by hand. And that's probably what these sketches are for. And as it happens, we can actually operate this from the outside. I'm gonna hit space to skip because that transition is kind of long. Alright, this shouldn't be too hard. You right click to interact with the inventory. Bottom, middle, pin, the teeth, gear with no tooth. And on this wheel, these pins are out, in. Click up here to turn this. The perspective on these holes really threw me as a kid. How would this mechanism even function? I mean, is it supposed to work like this? Huh. Skipping this. So let's test our new configuration. Aha! So these pins grab onto the elevator and turn it. That makes more sense. Alrighty then. Now that everything's set, let's see if we can catch this Savidra in the act. It's open. Oh, great. That's the most secure linking book I've ever seen so far. And the theme's changed back to Atrus' theme. Actually sounds like a mix between Riven and Myst. Yeah, I forgot to mention, the music in this game is scored by not Robin Miller this time, but Jack Wall. And as you may have heard in the opening, he doesn't just compose music like this, he also leads an entire freaking orchestra. That becomes more prominent in Myst IV. Oh, that's useful. Oh, and the blue cloud icon in the corner is just the ScummVM auto-saving to my cloud drive. What's this? Another entry. This looks like number 4. Cirrus and Achenar. The walls run red with steam and strangling branches. I see their bloated faces laughing at everything. I remember how they lied. I remember what they did. They brought me here to die. I followed them. The lattice roots were black from too much overgrowth. Puffer spores floated up in the hot steam and burst. No one was there to guide the spores to the branches. No one was waiting to perform the ritual weaves. The fighting had torn my people apart. They didn't care. They didn't care. They wanted Narayan to die. I would never be able to do a Brad Dourif impression, but then again, I'm not really good at acting, period. Well, this was the thing he was put that piece of paper on, so I would guess this was the scanning device. And once again, Atrus shows his lack of OSHA compliance. That's one thing I feel like Gen could have taught him. There is this button. Whoa! Cool.
My sons, I promised to teach you the secrets of my ages. This world is the first step on your journey. Search the island, and you'll find 3 linking books. Each connects to an age in which you must fulfill.
Hello, Atrus. Been a long time. Sorry I'm not there to greet you in person, but I just didn't think it would be wise, considering how long I've been stuck here. Trapped in these lesson ages by 2 very greedy little boys. Your sons, Atrus. Cirrus and Achenar. Of course, they're not so little anymore, not so innocent. I thought a lot about innocence these last few years and what happens when it gets lost. Worried about relation? I have it. Worried about friends, relatives, people you can't get back. I know just how you feel. But if you want to do something about it, you're gonna have to open this device. And there's just one problem. I've changed the 3 symbols that do that. So if you want to reclaim relation, you're gonna have to take your own class. Find the 3 symbols, Atrus. And don't keep me waiting forever.
Well, that clears a few things up. So apparently this age, called Jananan, which is actually the Sanskrit word for knowledge, was part of a larger course to teach Cirrus and Achenar how to write ages, using 3 other ages around this island that form some concept of how ages are formed. And I assume in each one would be some kind of symbol to plug into this to raise and open this cage. So Saavedra must have altered those symbols, as he said. If anyone in the audience isn't familiar with who Brad Dourif is, well, he is kind of a... He played a lot of crazy people in TV and movies. He starred as the original version of Chucky and Grima Wormtongue in Lord of the Rings. So, I'd say we're dealing with probably the scariest Myst villain out of all of them. So it's a good thing he's not here right now. Like the original Myst, these ages can be visited in any order we want. A lot of people go from here to here to here because there's kind of a reason for it. But due to scheduling events, I'm gonna do it in a different order. I'll start with this one, the red one. So in addition to being holographic projectors, these things seem to be telescopes as well. We can move them along the X and Y axis by dragging. Oh, that looks familiar. And I'm guessing we need to align the symbol on the viewer with the window in the background. And by moving X and Y, these marbles also move. And as for these levers, this one controls the zoom. And this one adjusts the focus. Well, that's as clear as it can get, so now what? Well, I would say note the positions of these marbles, because they look pretty distinctly positioned. One is, let's use compass directions. South-southwest, west, south, and east, I think. Just double checking. Yep, that looks about right. So this room is kind of an airlock. Well, it's a good thing Atrus put buttons on both sides just in case. And that they only signal for down. There we go. Alright, so how do we access this tusk? Let's use zip mode. Well, judging from this contraption, it looks like this thing receives light from somewhere and projects it onto the door. And we have seen these poles everywhere. Well, that's interesting. Aha! So this podium, I guess, receives sunlight, focuses it into a beam, and bounces it to here, where it gets focused and projected onto these things. Well, that's no good because it's broken. Okay. Blue then. That's just the mirror. Yeah, I'm getting the most tedious tusk puzzle out of the way first. Onto a green one on the opposite side of the island. Yeah, this handrail does not look safe at all. You could slip right under. Why is it that the villain of Riven was the most safety conscious? If anyone in Presto Studios is watching, I'd like your side of the story on that. Oh, and up here really quick. The box cover, you might have noticed, is kind of strange. See the way this building is pointed? Well, compared to the cover itself, the doorway is pointing 180 degrees, which means there's no way to get in it, and the tusk in the background is missing. That's what TV Tropes calls covers always lie. There's the green one. Yeesh, you give this thing some oil. Can sunlight really be this bright after being bounced around so many times? Unless this age's sun has different properties. I like that they made a rendered image for when it's facing us. Oh wait, I might have missed. There's a possible Easter egg. I might... If I stand here... Nope. Maybe it's that one. Oops. My bad. That just goes out to sea. Yes, finally. So that machine is a kind of prism that splits the light into colors. Okay, so do you remember what the order of the colors were? We started at yellow, then blue, then green, then red again, then yellow, then purple. Wait, silly me. Was it yellow, red, purple? No? Oh, it's yellow, purple, red. Joke's on me. Red, yellow, purple, red. I missed a step. Nice pattern on the floor there. I definitely love how it's, the tusks are color-coded to match the projection color. We can even see the sun through the window and projecting this shape there. It's the only tusk where this happens. Alright, so everybody remember the code? I'm not having a good time right now. My short-term memory is failing me. I do like that the music is giving us a preview of what the Aegis theme will be. Look. Dang it, I was close. I almost had it. East, southeast. Well, there's the book to our first stage, Voltaic, which is actually a reference to the voltaic cell, the invention of batteries. And this time, we get a full close-up of the flyby. Welcome to Voltaic, a dry, rusted industrial complex from the looks of things. It looks like a power cable or something got disconnected and fell in the water. And this door doesn't open. From the looks of these coils, I would say this requires power to open, not a key. And what about this barbecue grill-shaped contraption? Oh, it's the book back to Jananan. Well, that's a quality of life improvement over Myst 1. We don't have to worry about actually finding the book. It's right here. Just take a look around. Well, this is awkward. Another entry. And it's the first one. So, someone linked to Jananan and Savidro saw him and found the linking book. Another locked door. Yep. Totally called it. I really like this track. The male vocalist singing is actually called Jerry Stringer in the credits. No relation to Jerry Springer. I can't make any sense of this chart. Oh, this looks promising. Control tower for this gate, I assume. It's not exactly a hydroelectric dam. I'm guessing there was a wheel here, but Savidro probably tore it out. So we broke the windows, so we have to push our arm through and remove this. Well, that icon's lit, but that's it. Well, this looks like a power generator. Oh, right. You can't mesh a moving gear with a static one. So this whole thing's one giant water wheel. It's been a long time since we had a puzzle where you have to turn on the power. Give me a second. I need to close some tabs. Oh wow, you can actually see the water spilling through here. Skipping this. Ah, so I see if we get the power on this will open too. There we go. So yeah. If you look closely with this viewing port, there's actually teeth on the edge of the water wheel, and there's teeth on the thing we just raised. So now with everything in place, we should be good to go. Power is going to, I assume, some kind of hub station. But there's still some kind of disconnect in there. What the? I like that we can see the water wheel through all these windows. This whole age feels like some kind of private field trip. Actually everything moving now. What in the frick? Okay. Presto, why did you include this? This is just ridiculous. You spin me right round, baby, right round. Someone actually did make a montage of that ages ago. I bet David Macaulay would be proud. All because we're standing on that axis right there. Alright, enough fooling around. on, let's see what happens. I love tech like that. Huh, what have we here? I can definitely hear power humming.
What's the matter, Atrus? Can't remember how things work? Yet you explained this class so well when we first spoke of it in Orion. I want Cirrus and Achenar to learn everything they can, Savidro. First from Amateria, Idana, Voltaic, and finally from Narayan. When my boys come to see your people, I want them to see Narayan's traditions at work so they can see how civilization can balance an age. Do you know what they did when they finally came to us? You never came back. After class was over, you took your boys away, and you never came back. Cirrus and Achenar did.
Well, that was interesting. I'm guessing originally Atrus left some kind of message to tell the brothers on how far they've come and what's ahead and so forth, so... something definitely happened in Narayan and it involved those two brothers. Why am I not surprised? Well, this isn't too bad. I remember in some concept art this was a shiny flat floor at one point. I don't know why they changed this. Well, these definitely aren't fire marbles because some of these lights are burned out, and they're obviously connected by wires. Oh, pardon me, I have gum in my mouth. This piece of music is just a remix of the first, it's not on the soundtrack. Well, this looks, imposing. The icon wasn't kidding, it's a circle and 5 other circles. It's probably some kind of transformer station because there's wires on the inside of that cylinder, and 4 of them seem to go up here, and then they go to these nodes, I assume, which probably distribute the power. And across from them are these triangles, I guess, with, I assume, coils in the middle. I have a hunch, but I think these might be electromagnets. And they seem to be inverted, so the like poles are touching. I wonder what that means when the power finally comes on. And the bottom wire powers the lights. The one's burned out. And here on this panel we have the Dunny number 1. Oh yeah, these things are definitely disconnected. It seems simple, we just need to have all of them connected to one another, but between panels, what you do there affects the others, because we're not looking at tiny circuitry, we're seeing the opposite wall of the cylinder itself. Every moment I spend searching his house runs the risk of someone finding me. For one heart-wrenching moment I thought she was Tamra, then I remembered my Tamra is dead. I left her to die while I went after the brothers. I told her to go to the reef, to take our 2 girls there and hide. I took the necklace she gave me to remember her. Until I opened his machine, I saw Narayan through his shield. And even though the barrier kept me locked inside, I knew the lattice tree had died. Narayan can't survive without the tree. No one can be alive outside his shield. As much as I wanted to give in to its numbness, I couldn't let Atrus' wife find me standing there. It was right where I left it, to put back to Jananan. It was much too close this time. It ain't easy being a sneak thief, I guess. So only the middle needs tweaking. There we go. Oh yeah, power is definitely on now. So there's only 3 nodes. No, it's definitely 5. Well, let's go up and see what's being powered. Oh, that's much more promising. I don't know what this is, but judging from this shape here and how the small island connects, I would guess the upper electromagnet is right under that island, and so the power is going to the bottom magnet, but not the top one. There's a break in the circuit somewhere, and other than that, it seems it's powering some kind of coil. Let's look over here. Oh my god. This has to be the largest OSHA violation in the series. All in this giant chasm. Echo! 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 I've never seen any other Myst game with this kind of blatant safety disregard. Although there was a company called Streco Graphics that made 2 games in their Aura series, and they blatantly ripped this concept off. This doesn't look like a skeleton. I think it's made of metal. So it's probably just some kind of giant sculpture made to look like a skeleton. And is it me, or does that shape there look like the Half-Life 2 logo? I mean, this game was released in 2001. It's probably just a coincidence. I think we've... Whoa. Yeah, if you look at the sun in this game, it creates a bloom effect. You know, when I first played this game, I completed everything except the Transformer puzzle, so I wasn't able to use this lever. But now we can. Sneaky. How the young men in the village don't want to listen to the elders. Why should we abide by your rules, old men? They scream. You have no life inside you left to live. You gave it up decades ago to the tree. Tamara wants to take the children home. Tell them what? That their young lives do not belong to them alone? That our people are meant to be slaves to our world? Cirrus and Agnar can see the confusion they're creating. I catch them looking at faces, measuring which men are most dissatisfied. Later they will approach these men in secret. They will urge the malcontents to boycott our rituals. They will prey on our youth and dissatisfaction, and the young men will begin forming gangs. They will throw off our traditions, rise against the elders, and follow the brothers. Riots will start, and the tree will be neglected. They never understood the work we had to do. They only knew the time had come to leave. And when they did leave, they left their linking book behind, knowing I'd use it to follow. They lured me to this world, tied me up, and left me to die here, because I didn't stop them when I should have. So the brothers, instead of just killing people, they started a straight-up civil war inside Narayan. I don't know which is worse. So this walkway leads up to this lever. I'm guessing something's supposed to happen that isn't happening. Well, there's the problem. We got a whole airship here, but it's deflated. And somehow I feel like that's what the symbol on the tusk represents. I like all the spotlights down there. I wonder how long it took Atrus to build all this. That's one of the things this game it doesn't say. Valves. But judging by this meter, there's nothing flowing through these pipes. I always wanted to know what this walkway is for because it's out of service. Maybe a different kind of elevator meant for boarding at one point? I don't know. That was no good either. So he's painting something. I don't think I want to cross this yet. I mean, look how deep a drop that is. Instead, I'm going to look at this journal we didn't even open yet. The city of Dunny should not be restored. It should stand forever in ruins. The war on tyranny, mentioned in the Book of Dunny. If we rebuild the city walls today, are we not giving approval to the very illness that destroyed our civilization in the first place? I like these sketches he made. I wish we could see ages like this. Writing ages is a science, a precisely structured equation of words. By tapping into its latest energy, an age moves out of stasis. It grows, transforms, and develops. Huh. This sentence is in bold. I think we should remember it. Energy powers future motion. Okay, now I'm ready. I would not be walking on this upright. I'd be crawling along it. An air vent. So this pipe must be some kind of giant air duct. And this is a secondary one. Just like breaking into Gen's office. Well, that's one problem solved. Whoops. Now, what is this? Looks like Cerebro jammed a giant nail into the middle of this console. I think there was lava in here just now. Oh, this side's free. Let's play with it a bit. bit. Oh, he made a mural up there. Oh yeah, this definitely looked like the end of the tale. I'm guessing this person in blue was Servidra before he grew all that hair out. That's probably Tamara with her necklace. And Narayan is just facing the apocalypse with everybody killing and maiming each other because they don't want to do their chores. Meanwhile, up here, the two naughty boys are toasting their victory and running off with all the treasure in a gondola. Definitely, it's probably no coincidence that he painted it in a lava room. Oh yeah, it looks even more hellish this way. Yes, I can stand on this metal platform just inches from actual lava. So this is the source of the lava, and that's the drain. Since the upper control is jammed, because this fan is probably connected to that spine duct outside, but we need hot air to fill the Zeppelin, not cold air. So to get the hot air, just need lava. Thankfully, I should have checked this earlier. At least Atrus safety-proofed this for his sons. I'm gonna go the safe way. I'm not gonna go through the vent. Notice the music changed again. The soundtrack actually has different tracks to mark how far you are into the age. And I believe this is the last one. So now we have steam coming through these pipes. And because this pipe is rusted shut, there we already have 1, 2, 3, 5, 10 units of pressure. So, and we need to land the needle on this marked notch of 19 units. Closing a valve adds more pressure, but we're still off. Believe it or not, this lever controls an elevator we're standing on. But it needs a certain level of pressure, and as it happens, the needle needs to be in the yellow zone. Valves add 5 units. Wait, no, 4 units. If I know anything, to get to the top level, we need to get into the red zone. To go down, this tripped many players up. You have to pull the lever backward. Nice to see you, Everett. You're looking at a patched copy for ScummVM because the retail release has sound bugs that I personally contacted ScummVM to fix. And those bugs weren't present on the original physical version. Oh, I forgot to close this one. These valves close, give 1 unit. So how do we get 19 units? Well, we're currently at... Give me a second. I can't even read these markings. So by adding 1 unit of pressure up here, that subtracts from the 20 up here, at least I think. I mean, I was young. When I first played, I used walkthroughs. But basically, we've advanced the position of the needle by 1. Four, 8. 12. I hate math-based puzzles, I'll just say that right now. Close. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. problem is that the notches on this dial are really hard to read. Because I can't tell which are 5s and which are 1s. Here's what happens if you try to turn the master valve without setting it right. Picky, picky, picky. So while I'm working at this, let me let you in on a little history. Did you know that the original version of Exile used this DRM called Safe Disk? It worked by having one of the disks not only have to be in the drive when you launch the program, but it had an error pressed into it to keep you from copying it. But that error caused the disk drive to buzz like a chainsaw when it was running. Imagine what that would do to the laser. God dang you, Ubisoft. There! That's what we need. Right, the door. I guess that's what the hole in the middle is for. So with everything in place, this lever should work now. Well, looks like this airship took the whole walkway with it, I guess to prevent players from backtracking and making the developers do renders for having to blimp out in the open. Well, let's take this thing out for a spin, shall we? That's what that line was for. There's the waterfall. Hey, I recognize this place. This is where the power line was down. So, it looks like the cable there is actually the track for the airship, but it's broken, and under this walkway is some kind of beam that should be connected to here. It looks like there's a power cable connected to it. Well, let's see what this lever does. Hold on to your hats, because this is a crazy cutscene. Good, connection set. What in the... Okay then. Well, from the looks of things, we engaged a giant knife switch that provided power to the upper electromagnet we saw down there. And that looked like the lower magnet, so I was right, they are repelling each other so much that it has enough power to blast into the air. And there's magnetized rocks floating in the middle, it seems. Just like that experiment we saw in Savidro's lab. Well, let's get up there and see what it is. Oh, we are so much higher now. Sorry about that. My stream key died and I had to re-authenticate it. So we're going down into the bottom of the electromagnet. And now for the final, most dangerous part of this age. And for once, our character actually writes things down themselves. That must be one of the symbols Savidro changed. Wonder what's in here. Okay, that's cool. Time to take this back to Jananan. Well, let's see if this thing works. Now, tricky thing about this scanner is that once you put it on here, the camera locks, so I'm gonna angle it right here. So what you do is you right click and then drag the paper onto the scanner.
Not so easy, is it, Atrus? Running like a rat through a maze, looking for some sign that'll help you save your world. Is it over here? Is it over there? Is it someplace I can't find? Cirrus and Akinar didn't care about saving Narayan. All that talk about fixing instabilities, rewriting the age so that we would be free to live our lives, that was just talk to hide the truth of why they had come. But we believed their lies, Atrus. So we abandoned our traditions, forgetting that those traditions were keeping Narayan alive. And when the lattice trees started to die, I followed them here to tell them what they had done. And they laughed. They said they would never fix Narayan. They said that they had already taken everything it had worth saving. So, my dear old friend, Atrus, I brought you to this place where your education begins. Find the remaining two symbols, and then come see what your boys did to Narayan.
Okay then. Well, 2 ages left. I'm gonna save the far one for last in part 2. So let's focus on this one next and see if I can actually try and remember what the actual code is this time. So this time it's I'll actually do this proper thing and write it down this time. Let's take the elevator this time. So let's go out this door this time. Let's be nice and actually close the door ourselves. We haven't explored over here yet. Aww. See if that helps. Yeah, this adorable little critter is actually called a squee. A relative of mine actually called it a chinchilla mouse. But the fact that it's highlighted as a sound is probably important. When I first saw this, I thought this was like a goose, but it's actually a very large flower. And this flower amplifies sounds in the environment. It's actually helpful that the subtitles tell you what sounds are where, because for once it means even deaf people can solve it. So when we saw the squee eating there, its chirps actually inflated those spores next to it, so... And this wall is full of those spores, so... Hope the little guy doesn't get full too fast, because we gotta walk across this now. And this time, just like before, the tusk is mood-lit and green. Did it! And this time we are visiting Edana, which I assume is a play on Eden. Duidana, a giant tree with a whole ecosystem inside. Every little thing here, even the puzzles, is some kind of organism or plant. So this flower full of water is actually a telescope, and we can see the Jananan book, presumably the one we'll find at the end. To be honest, this is my least favorite of the games, because, well, everything is so organic and beautiful that the navigation is tough. This plant is called a corkscrew cattail, and it's not just for show. Whoa! That is one big bird. It's actually called a red-breasted grossamere. Oh yeah, scenes with people like Catherine and Yisha, they always go in a loop, so this bird will always be feeding its chick. Interesting that only one of these 5 eggs is hatched. And this corkscrew cattail has its own basin of water supplying it. Now, do you guys see a path here? I only barely do. Off she goes, I guess. This cattail looks absolutely wilted because its basin is dry, probably because this pod here is holding all the water. It's actually called a quaffler fig. Up here is our first puzzle, actually. That's a lot of fan-like plants. Well, if we push this, the whole thing retracts, and it reveals the Jananan book. I do like how they eliminated the factor of having to find the book to be able to go back. Here, you can actually use it in case you get stuck or want to pick a different age. The other effect of changing the plant is casting sunlight on this one called a lens blossom. And this one is actually refracting sunlight through its hardened lens. Even a burn mark. Well, I think I know what to do with this. You hear that? It's boiling the water inside the quaffler fig. Time to go deeper into the tree. This area is called the Deadwood Ridge. Same for the top, but that's even more sparse. This thing is called an electro ray, so named because, as you saw, it actually produces electricity to gain nutrients from plants. And there's some kind of hole in this basin. Another fake, and this one we can actually interact with. Poor Ray. More pages. I've desecrated the poem he placed in the columns. I could no longer stand to see Narayan's artistry in his worlds. I think I can do something with sap to cover the second one, but I'm not sure what to do about the island. Don't know how to alter the current. Something about the composition of the rock and materia causes it to attract and repel other stone. So he actually tampered with the symbols in the environment, so maybe what we drew isn't complete yet. Wait a minute. This area is weird. Plants aside. You see this? It looks like Savidro cut this down, whatever this is. And... oh. Well, the mama bird's in... sounds like she's in trouble. Anyway. Yeah, I never noticed this until I was testing. It looks like Savidro chopped down this wall of barnacle moss. And that as well. So it looks like he changed how this puzzle works. Probably in order to slow us down. Can't go this way. It looks like a one-way slide. These plants are called tongue ferns. Because they unroll like tongues. And I can see they're reactive to light. So that used to be a spot for a tongue fern also, but it's gone now. What is that? And this trapeze-like vine is literally called a swing vine. Whoa, Nelly. This'll work. I'm thinking Savidro built this trap as some kind of obstacle for us. Either that or he ate those creatures. Well, we knew from Janana that his chirps can expand those spores, but how do we get it to help us? Oh, I scared. So I wonder what this handle does. That screech was one of the sound glitches I helped get corrected, by the way. Wait a minute. Oh my god. I think this trap is made of squee pelts. Trapping it didn't work, but maybe if we just move where it is, then... Well, I hope the little guy finds a place to live now, because the trap just dropped in front of his den. I'm definitely sure this is not the way Atrus intended for this puzzle to be solved. Savidro is intentionally messing with things to make the ages more difficult. This is just a way to go back. Whoa. There she is, in a pitcher plant, just like the one in his lab. Now to my least favorite part of the age, the forest. Do have another mural here, but let's get some light first. So, from the looks of things, Cirrus and Akan are showing the Narayan people linking books, tempting them with other ages where they don't have to always work on maintaining the lattice trees. And the younger people look interested, but the older people aren't. And I'm guessing this is Savidro off to the side, caught in the middle of all this. Those must be what the lattice trees look like in the background. Say what you want about Savidro, he's a pretty good artist. give me a moment. I need to get a scene ready. So there's a lot of flowers around here called lambent orchids, and there's one out here sitting in the sunlight. And similar to the poles in Jananan, these things are actually mirrors. Since there's no light spore, we can aim it at this tongue fern. I don't like this puzzle because it requires a lot of walking around. Judging from this basin, I think this is where we need to put the electro ray, because these vines go all the way up to the peach plant up top. But I'm not gonna push this fig yet. There's a reason. And while I'm here, I'm gonna go out and say that I feel like Crowbar Collective must have been inspired by Idana to make their version of Zen. I mean, doesn't this look familiar? Another imager.
Years, Atrus. 20 long years alone. They tied me to a post. They burned their Myst linking books in front of me. They took everything I had. My wife. My 2 baby girls. And then, when I finally made it back to Narayan and I saw, it would have been better if I had died.
Yeesh, man. Remember when I said I was sensitive to raised voices in realMyst? Well, Brad Dourif definitely tops Rand Miller's performance as Atrus in the original version. another lens blossom, and we can't actually use this yet. And another orchid. I'll just aim it at this. Basically, we're trying to do the same thing as what we did up top, as point light at the Quaffler fig, but by bouncing it around these two orchids. And can I ask, did any of you see a path through here? Anyone? Anyone? Bueller? Well, as it happens, there's actually an intersection right here in this log. It took me forever to find this as a kid. Now I'll press this. Looks like this orchid is already aimed at that one, so I think we should be set. Oh yeah. And as it happens, there's actually a way to see the process close up if you do things a little different. If you feel at the last minute, you can see it pop up close. Well, at least the Ray will have enough food for it to last a while. I feel like it would be more appropriate if we could just... I feel like somebody took him up from the ocean. Maybe it was Savidro. Because this whole part seems like yet another obstacle to slow us down. Messing with the ecosystem doesn't seem like something Atrus would teach. Right, I forgot I gotta turn the other orchid back. Yes, these winding pathways are very much like the new version of Zen in the Black Mesa remake. So into the deceptively hidden tunnel. And to add insult to injury, you'll miss these journal pages if you don't turn back. There's on entry 2. So Atrus visited Narayan first to learn about it. How to splice old and new growths together so the walls of our houses will grow strong. So it's where the sea flows through gaps in the world. The puffer spores are ready to take flight. So they drew in puffer spores by playing music. Looks like a giant carrot, this thing. So we can go in two directions, forward or up. This really weird plant is called a jumping dragon. And that's your way back up. How this leaf moves on its own, I don't know. I probably should look through this journal a little bit more. So just as they abandoned the cavern because of painful memories, Atrus wants to do the same to Myst Island. Nature encourages mutual dependence. Here, this is called a papillion moth. And well, Tilda, the developer's cats are on it. Oh yeah, we are at the base of the tree. And this thing is called a Nemel lotus. Nemel. And judging from the sounds and water, I'd say we're in a swamp. Devilishly hidden, again, is this passage right here. Well, this lotus looks like it's been picked clean by the bird, considering it's growing fruit inside and there's barely anything left of it. I think this thing needs to regrow. Another of those palm thingies. And just as the other one removed light when we pushed it, I guess this will do the reverse. Vesuvi mushrooms. So we need to make those bugs pollinate the other plant. One more of these. Blue this time. Oh, but watch this. Oh yeah, that thing is ripe and ready to be plucked. Now we're inside the lotus with one giant cage made of fruits. I guess this is where the bird feeds her young. And actually, right here, I'm gonna save it for part 2 because it's another big ride from here. See you next time.